So hello and welcome back to our Lives of the NPCs, the lives that sometimes are tragic as can be. I ran into this guy, Sunwalker Dezco, the Dawn Chaser chieftain of the Horde. Well, I was doing my research for my Exploring Pandaria episode, researching for one series sometimes bears fruit for both. And I remembered this quest, but I didn't really honestly realize the tragedy of it. So you meet the Sunwalker Dezco and his wife in Thundercleft in Pandaria, and you find out that his wife was having visions. Now, she wasn't the only person having visions, but she was having visions about a valley filled with flowers, and she was being called there. So their whole tribe headed off to Pandaria, and while they were sailing, storms caught them, destroying almost all of their tribe. But the final vessel was able to find Pandaria, landed in the Krasarang Wilds, and they all felt a pull towards the north. Unfortunately, they ran into the Shah. And Lisa, who is Sunwalker Dezco's wife, and the one who was mostly leading them there, she was not only very pregnant, but she fell ill, acutely ill due to the Shah. They set up camp at Thundercleft, and she ends up, when your adventurer comes along, she ends up in labor. She's in labor early, and a lot of the questing that you do is to help find herbs and some magical water to help deliver the babies. So you turn that in, and, well, this happens. So, after all of that, and after the death of his wife and the birth of his twin sons, who, it's kind of interesting because his sons were given the weaning names, and evidently in Tauren they have like a milk name or a weaning name. The boys were named Redhorn and Cloudhoof. And Dezco put one on a front carrier, one on a back carrier, and they headed off to the Shrine of Two Moons, where they were nursed by his wife's cousin Nala. And the Golden Lotus, which is a faction in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, learned that there was a child who was destined to join their order and basically save the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. They tested panda children left, right, and center, were not able to find it, but then Chi-Ji, one of the Celestials, actually appeared and found his way to Dezco's sons. Now, all of this actually comes from a Warcraft short story that I haven't read, so I'm leaning very heavily on a lot of research I did. Anyway, Chi-Ji shows up, and Dezco is told to decide which of his sons was going to stay with him and which one was going to go with the Golden Lotus, but he didn't like that idea. He didn't want either of his children taken away from him and raised away from their Tauren roots. So he decided to sneak out of the Vale and head back to Mulgore, and his path home was blocked. There were Mogu everywhere at the gate of the August Celestials, and Dezco joined some people trying to find a way out. They didn't find a way out. What they found was a fight. And during the fight, they were attacked by Quillen and Mogu in the night, and Redhorn, one of his twin sons, was ripped away from Dezco's body and carried off. So Dezco, of course, gave chase, found his son in the group of Shouten Mogu. There was a giant battle, and Dezco was wounded. Redhorn, the baby, was wounded, and during the battle, Dezco failed to notice that his other son, Cloudhoof, was crushed in his basket carrier that he was wearing. So, this is terrible, all right? Already, I think he might take the cake for the most tragic story I've read in World of Warcraft so far. So, with one child dead, the other one dying from Mogu poison, Dezco and his Pandaren companion made their way to one of the sacred pools in Pandaria. Dezco was forced to leave his dead son at the edge of the water, and they invoked the powers of the Vale to help heal Redhoof. Chi-Ji appeared, revived his baby, healed the Pandaren, but vanished before Dezco could get any healing or revival for his other twin. So, already, very tragic backstory, and then it kind of gets worse. He actually did give up Redhorn to the Pandaren, and he said goodbye to his only surviving child, his last connection to his wife. Now, these next two parts I am not 100% sure on, because I went running around Oribos left, right, and sideways trying to find him, but evidently you can find him in Oribos. I did find a picture of it online, but I did not personally find him. He goes to Oribos and he's hoping to find the souls of his wife and the baby that he actually crushed. And don't know if he actually found them, but he did say that if the adventurer ever finds his wife, to say that their son Kor is growing strong and that he will always love her. Very tragic. I did find out one other little thing, and I flew all over in the Dragon Isles, but evidently Cordon Chaser, who is the baby that you helped deliver in the Mists of Pandaria, evidently he is traveling with his father in the Dragon Isles. I was not able to find this anywhere when I went looking for it, but evidently if you find him, he says, "I was raised by the Golden Lotus, the caretakers of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Dad always meant well, and after the passing of my mom and brother, wanted to secure a bright future for me. I am happy to travel with him now. The Maruk and the Green Dragons both aim to protect their lands, a cause that is dear to me. The Dragon Isles are filled with wonder, just like the stories I've been told of the Vale and its glory. I'm glad to help how I can." So, now I have a mission for all of you, along with giving me any other NPCs that you would like me to track down and learn a little bit more about. I need somebody to tell me where you can find Redhorn, because I would like to actually see him. But yeah, that is the story of Sunwalker Dezco and his very tragic life. I think, like I said before, pretty much every character in World of Warcraft heavily needs therapy, and I'm guessing that Sunwalker Dezco might need it more than most. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have an NPC that you would like to find out more about, drop it in the comments down below. Leave me a thumbs up if you don't mind, and I will see you next week with more Lives of the NPCs.